So this is a question that, it's probably a little bit personal for me too, because I'm sort of an aspiring writer. I've sort of dropped off the radar a little bit the past year or so. But for all the people in this class, I mean, we're all here for a reason, obviously, taking this course. They want to write something, or they want to get a story out, or they want to be writers. And so, you have been doing this for so long. I was wondering if you just had any general words of wisdom for us.
Well, I think there's two things. One's called writing and the other is called publishing. And the business of books is not about art. So you want to remember that if you're trying to interface with the business of books, that's a different thing. If one could just write for oneself and be happy, that would be a different thing. I always wanted an audience. Didn't have to be a large audience. I once met a writer who wanted to be like Dickens. In the 19th century, everyone read Charles Dickens. I didn't care about that. I wanted to be published, and I published in New York City and have some praise by a few people whose opinion I valued. That was about it. It was pretty modest, actually. But writing is very difficult. It's very difficult to do well, and it's very difficult to get a publisher. So you have to ask yourself, if you're a writer, how much heartbreak you're up for. It's a very, very tough game, and it often bends people out of shape and makes them into creatures less beautiful than they might otherwise be, like any high-risk endeavor. On the other hand, it's an opportunity to do true work, work that you chose and work that you give your heart to. So I would say that there are a lot of dangers in being a writer, but on the other hand, there are some rewards. What was your question? How did you put it?
Words of wisdom for us, I guess.
Yeah, I think also, as you know, Jane, from my classes, I don't privilege writing over a good meal, good scotch, a garden, growing a garden, raising kids, all of these marvelous things that people can do in the world. And a lot of them you can do with less risk than writing. So perhaps because I'm older now, and I look back and I see what risks I took, I'm not sure I wish them on other people. Or maybe I just don't have the risk-taking ability of that sort anymore. But, there's a lot of heartbreak built in and around the arts, particularly in a society like ours, which is so star-driven and so unsupportive at more simple levels, as opposed to countries like England or Ireland or Sweden, where there's some kind of basic support for a lot of artists. That said, when I was young, you couldn't have stopped me from dropping out of law school after a week, and then dropping out of grad school after a semester, and so on. I just was crazy. I had this notion that I wanted to do what was true to me. And I'm not sure that's a smart notion, but it's the one I tried to pursue. So, as we say in Hawaii, aloha. Anyway, that's all I can say.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.